Hello and welcome to class 459, translation booklet. One of the original three books, class 459, page 154, translation booklet, list number 10. Are you ready? All right, number 1. Nadie sabe dónde está Tom. Tomás. Nadie sabe dónde está Tom. Nobody knows where Tom is. Nobody knows where Tom is. Fíjate, el is va después. Nadie sabe dónde Tom está. En inglés. El verbo siempre va después. Except in the direct question. Where is Tom? I'm asking you where Tom is. Claro, I'm asking you es una afirmación. Estoy preguntando de dónde Tom está. Así se dice en inglés. ¿Dónde está Tom? Quiero saber dónde Tom está. Estoy pidiendo dónde Tom está. No sé dónde Tom está. Ok, así en inglés. Nadie sabe dónde está Tom, o dónde Tom está en inglés. Nobody knows where Tom is. Yo sé lo que él hace. I know what he does. I know what he does, Tom, but I don't know where he is. I know what he does. Sé también por qué lo hace. I also know. Cuando dices also, va metido en medio. I also know why he does it. Sé lo que hace y sé por qué lo hace. I know what he does. I know what he does, and I also know why he does it. Do you know why he does it? You don't? Well, I know why he does it. Maybe I'll tell you after class. ¿Por qué lo hace? Why does he do it? Why does he do it? I don't know. Why does he do it? I'm not going to tell you why he does it. ¿Por qué lo hace? Why does he do it? He does it. He does it because he wants to do it. That's why. He does it because he wants to do it. Oye, ¿cuándo me lo darán? When will they give it to me? When will they give it to me? When will they give it to me? When'll. Un nativo diría, when'll. When will they give it to me? When will they give it to me? ¿Cuándo te darán qué? When will they give you what? Darme lo que me deben. Give me what they owe me. Huh? Lo que te deben. What they owe you. ¿Qué te deben? What do they owe you? Owe. O-W-E. Owe. Escrito owe. Pronunciado O. Como si fuera O-U. O. Como la letra O. O. Te debo una O. I owe you an O. ¿Cuántos O's me debes? How many O's do you owe me? All right. Yes. ¿Cuándo te darán qué? When will they give you what? Darme lo que me deben. Give me what they owe me. ¿Qué te deben? What do they owe you? Me deben mucho dinero. They owe me a lot of money. They owe me a lot of money. ¿Y te deben también un favor? Do they owe you a favor? A favor, no. They owe me money. They owe me a lot of money, dice aquí. Me temo que no te lo van a dar. I'm afraid they're not going to pay you. They're not going to give it to you. Dice pay or give. Dice no te lo van a pagar. I'm afraid they're not going to pay you. I'm afraid they're not going to pay you. I'm afraid. I'm a man. I'm a teacher. I'm afraid. Estoy con miedo, o sea, me temo en este caso que no te lo van a pagar. I'm afraid they are not going to pay you. Contracción. I'm afraid they're not going to pay you. ¿Qué te hace creer eso? What makes you? Aquí no hay verbo auxiliar. What makes you? What makes you? Claro, porque el sujeto es what. What makes you think that? What makes you think that? Porque sé que no tienen ni un duro. Because I know they don't have any money, because they don't have a penny. No tienen ni un peñique, because I know they don't have a penny. Literalmente no tienen un peñique. Claro, en español, ni un peñique. Pero en inglés el ni no lo ponemos. Because I know they're not going to pay you. I'm afraid they're not going to pay you, my friend. I'm afraid they're not going to pay you. What makes you think that? What makes you think that? Porque sé que no tienen ni un duro, because I know they don't have a penny. They don't have a penny. ¿Quién sabe eso además de ti? Who knows that? Who knows that besides you? Besides me, además de mí, además que yo. Besides me, besides you, besides him, besides her, besides them, besides us. Who knows that besides you? Es curioso. ¿Quién sabe eso además de ti? It's correct, right? ¿Quién sabe eso además de mí? También es correcto. O además que yo. No, además de mí, right? Okay. Who knows that besides you? All right. Bastante gente, quite a few people. Quite a few. A few people es unos cuantas personas. A few. Pero si añades quite, escrito quite, quite, delante, quite a few, cambia radicalmente a bastantes. Bastantes en plural, bastantes libros, bastantes monedas, bastantes problemas. Quite a few, quite a few, quite a few, quite a few. ¿Quién sabe eso además de ti? Who knows that besides you? Bastante gente. Quite a few people. ¿No se da ella cuenta de dónde está? Doesn't she realize where she is? Doesn't she realize where she is? I mean, this is a television studio, and she's making noise. Margarita's sitting over there. Marta's over there. But Marta brought a friend this morning to watch. So there are two ladies in this room, Marta and Margarita. But Margarita is wearing 3 necklaces de perlas o parecido. And she's making a lot of noise. She has bracelets con collares y pulseras. She's making, can you hear? Can you hear Margarita? She's making a lot of noise. Doesn't she realize where she is? This is a TV studio. You need to be silent. We're recording a television program, an English class. And Margarita's making a lot of noise. Marta, doesn't she realize where she is? ¿No se da cuenta dónde es? O dónde está, no? Yeah, doesn't she realize where she is? Okay, apparently, she doesn't realize where she is. ¿Te das cuenta? ¿Te das cuenta lo que haces? Hombre, ¿te das cuenta lo que haces o lo que estás haciendo? Do you realize what you're doing? Do you realize what you're doing? You haven't bought the books. You haven't bought the books. Do you realize what you're doing? You're watching this program, and you're not taking full advantage of the opportunity. ¿Te das cuenta lo que haces o estás haciendo? Do you realize what you're doing? You're making a big mistake. Do you realize what you're doing? Do you realize? ¿No es esto más fácil que aquello? ¿No es esto más fácil que aquello? Isn't this easier than that? Isn't this easier than that? Well, of course, this is much easier than that. That's much more difficult than this. Yeah, this isn't as difficult. Esto no es tan fácil como aquello, perdón, al revés. This isn't as easy as that. That's easier than this, which means this is more difficult than that. But this isn't as easy as that. Ella es más bonita que su hermana. She's prettier than her sister. Really? Yeah. Yeah. She's prettier than her sister. Who? Marta. Marta's prettier than her sister. Do you know her sister? No. Hermana tienes, no? Yeah. Do you know her sister? No. Well, then how do you know that Marta is prettier than her sister? Because Marta's very pretty. It's very difficult to find a person prettier than Marta. So she's prettier than her sister. which means that her sister isn't as pretty as she is. Her sister isn't as pretty as she is, which means that she is prettier than her sister. I don't know. I've never met Marta's sister, and I've never even seen a photograph. So I have no idea which sister is prettier. But Marta's very pretty, so she doesn't need to worry. All right. Let's see. Son más altos que los alemanes. Okay. ¿Quién? Ahora te digo. Son más altos que los alemanes. Alemanes. Okay. They are taller than the Germans. They're taller. They're taller than the Germans. They're taller than the Germans. Who's taller than the Germans? The Dutch. And it's true. The Dutch people, I think are the tallest people on average in the world. I think the Dutch have the tallest height, average height in the world. So the Dutch are taller than the Germans, which means that the Germans aren't as tall as the Dutch. Maybe it's true, maybe it's not. Oye, esto es más complicado, Richard. This is more complicated. More complicated than what? Well, this list is more complicated than list number 3. Well, of course, this list is more complicated than list number 3 because this is intermediate English, not beginner's English. Yes, it's more complicated, but it's not difficult. No te preocupes, no tendré miedo. Don't worry. Don't worry, I won't be afraid. I promise not to be afraid. To be or not to be, that is the question. I promise not to be afraid. Me, I'm never afraid. I'm never afraid of anything or anybody. I'm fearless, sin miedo. I'm not afraid. No te preocupes, no tendré miedo. Don't worry, I won't be afraid. ¿Y de qué tienes miedo? What are you afraid of? I said I'm not afraid of anything. And I'm not afraid of anybody. You look afraid. What are you afraid of? I'm afraid of the future. You're afraid of the future. All right. Se dice afraid of, más sustantivo. I'm afraid of lights. I'm afraid of big dogs. I'm afraid of the future. I'm afraid of Marta. Son sustantivos. Luego, tener miedo de hacer algo is afraid to. Tengo miedo de usar los lápices hoy. I'm afraid to use those pencils. Ahora bien, sí se admite afraid of, más gerundio, afraid of flying, afraid of going there. However, flying es un gerundio aquí. Es como decir, tengo miedo del hecho de volar o del volar. You remember the example. The best example is my father. My father was a pilot. My father was not afraid of flying. My father was never afraid of flying. But there was one moment in which my father was afraid to fly on a specific airplane. He said, ese avión tiene un problema. Tengo miedo de volar, de subir en ese avión. He said, I'm afraid to fly in that airplane. But my father wasn't afraid of flying. No tenía miedo de volar, o a volar. Pero tenía miedo a volar en ese avión en concreto, un día, en un momento puntual. He was afraid to fly. So I'm afraid of. Yes, but normally the verb afraid to. ¿De qué tienes miedo? What are you afraid of? I'm not afraid of anything. ¿Quién se lo va a pedir a ella? ¿Quién se lo va a pedir? Who's going to ask her? Or who's going to ask her for it? What do you want? Do you want that microphone? You like it, huh? Well, it doesn't belong to me. Yes, it does. That microphone doesn't belong to me. Yes, it does. Come on, Richard. Many times you've told us that that microphone is yours. Yeah, but it's not mine anymore. What do you mean it's not yours anymore? I gave it to Margarita. You gave it to her? Yeah, I gave it to her. For free? I gave it to her, yeah. I didn't sell it to her. So now it belongs to Margarita. Gosh, do you want it? Well, if you want it, you have to ask her. Don't ask me for it. You have to ask her for it. If you want it, ask her for it. Don't ask me for it. ¿Y quién se lo va a pedir? You or Raúl, Paula, Tomás? Who's going to ask her for it? Because you don't ask me for it. No me lo pidas a mí. Don't ask me for it. Entonación. Don't ask me for it. For it apenas suena. Ask her for it. If you want it, don't ask me for it. Ask her for it. It's hers now. It's not mine anymore. It used to be mine. Antes era mío. It used to belong to me. It used to belong to me. It used to be my property. It used to be mine, but it's not mine anymore. It doesn't belong to me anymore. Now it belongs to her. Now it's hers. So if you want it, don't ask me for it. Ask her for it. And who's going to ask her for it? ¿Quién se lo va a pedir? Who's going to ask her for it? All right. Él tiene miedo de pedírmelo. He's afraid. He's afraid to ask me for it. Él lo quiere. But Raúl. But he's afraid to ask me for it. I don't know why he's afraid to ask me for it. He doesn't know that it doesn't belong to me anymore. He doesn't know that it belongs to Margarita now. He's afraid to ask me for it. But I imagine if he knew that it was Margarita's, he would ask her for it with no problem. But he's afraid to ask me. He says, Richard, impones mucho. Siempre tengo miedo de pedirte las cosas. Raúl, he's afraid to ask me for it. Because I haven't told him that I gave it to Margarita. So it belongs to her now. He doesn't know that. If he knew that, I'm sure he would ask her for it. I'm sure, because I'm sure he's not afraid to ask Margarita for it, but he's afraid to ask me for it. Yes, él tiene miedo de pedírmelo, aquí lo dice. He's afraid to ask me for it. For it. ¿Cuántas veces has oído? For it, for it, for it, for it. Casi como bosque en francés, forêt, for it. Tienes que tener más cuidado. You have. Cuando usas tener que, obligación, have, fonéticamente se convierte en half, como decir la mitad, half an hour, half. You have to do it. Tienes que tener más cuidado. You have to be more careful. You have to be more careful, my friend. You have to be more careful. How much time, Marta? How much time do we have left? Yeah? Not bad? All right, we have enough time. Maybe we won't finish. Vocabulary booklet, okay? Vocabulary booklet. List number 36. Page 84. 84. All right. Ingeniero, engineer. Engineer, engine, un motor is an engine. Motor de gasolina o de combustible. Engine. Motor eléctrico, motor. Motor. So if it's electric, motor. If it's gasoline, diesel fuel, or internal combustion, engine. Pero no pasa nada si lo confundes, no pasa nada. Motor, the motor. Yeah. Habilidades motrices o motoras, motor skills. All right. Ingenieros, engineer. Engineer. If engineers didn't exist, I would be teaching English in the caves. Yes. Si los ingenieros no existieran, estaríamos recitando poemas en las cuevas. Yeah. Thanks to the engineers, we have light. We have running water, agua corriente. We have microphones, we have tables. Thanks to engineers. Yeah. Engineers are the most important people in the world. Engineers for our material well-being. Bienestar material. Material well-being. Con un guioncito a mí. Well-being. From our material, engineers are essential for our material well-being. Engineer, ingeniería, engineering. Vuelo, flight. El vuelo del águila, the eagle's flight. El vuelo del cóndor, the condor's flight. El vuelo del avión, the plane's flight, the flight. Vuelo número 310, flight number 310, flight, flight. Es como luz con F delante, flight, light. Congelado, frozen, frozen. Yeah, frozen. There's nothing on this table that is frozen. It's not cold in this room. It's a little bit warm. Yeah. To freeze is congelar o helar. Estoy helado. I'm freezing. Freezing. Or I'm freezing cold. Se dice, es super redundante, pero sí, I'm freezing cold. But I'm not frozen. If I were frozen, I wouldn't be able to speak. I wouldn't be able to teach this class if I were frozen. Significado, meaning. ¿Cuál es el significado de la vida? What's the meaning of life? What's the true meaning of life? No, 5 minutes. Okay, maybe. Marta showed me one. I said, 1 minute? Yeah, and then so Marta made a mistake. ¿Cuál es el significado de la vida? What's the meaning of life? Don't ask me. I'm just an English teacher. I'm not a philosopher. I don't know what the meaning of life is, but I'm going to enjoy it. Suegra, mother-in-law. Madre en ley, con guioncitos. Mother-in-law. Yes. Suegra. In Greek, ¿te acuerdas en griego cómo se dice suegra? Mother-in-law? You don't remember? Storba. All right. So, I'm not sure if that's true. All right. Mother-in-law, father-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, son-in-law, daughter-in-law. All right. Mediodía, noon, or midday. Noon. Como la luna, pero con N. Noon. El mediodía en la luna is the moon's noon. Noon at moon. Noon. I recommend midday. Midday cubre más horas. Noon, 12 o'clock. Noon. Because here in Spain, people eat at midday. In Spain, midday is 2 o'clock. But in the United States, in Canada, and Great Britain, noon is 12. Cuando es hora solar, it's noon. All right, but midday, I prefer midday, noon. De vez en cuando, occasionally. Occasionally, from time to time, every once in a while, every now and then, yes, every so often. Los cinco magníficos de siempre que digo. Every once in a while, every now and then, every so often, from time to time, and occasionally. Aquí viene occasionally. Propio, own, esto es mi propia mesa, my own table. Soy mi propio jefe. I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss. I recommend that you practice. Soy mi propio jefe. I'm my, alarga la M, no hagas pausa entre la M de I'm y la M de my. I'm my own boss. ¿Ves? Como dice así, hay mujeres aquí que se llaman Emma, con doble M, Emma. Y los españoles hacéis un alargamiento un poquito con la M. Hola Emma. No dices hola Emma. O tú dices Emma. No dices Emma. Okay, Emma. I'm my own boss. I'm my own boss. He's his own boss. She's her own boss. Pero más importante es, you're your own boss. Eso quiero que repitas muchas veces. Tú eres tu propio jefe. You are your own boss. You are. Ahora ese you are, contraigámoslo. You're. Suena igual que el siguiente. You're, como yo. You're your own boss. You're your own boss. You're your own boss. You're your own boss. I'm my own boss. He's his own boss. She's her own boss. Okay, practice those 4, but especially you're your own boss. All right, propio, own. Own. Pasajero is passenger. Passenger. I'm a passenger in time. Pastilla, píldora, pill. Pill. To take a pill. Ingerir una pastilla. To take a pill. Yes, posiblemente. Possibly. Maybe. Possibly. Producto, product. This is easy. Product. 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 I remember I had a student many years ago, 40 years ago, jefe de ingeniería de productos, product engineering manager. And the first time I met him was to prepare him to give a talk, para que diera una charla, que tenía que dar una conferencia en inglés. Y es el primer día que le conozco. And he couldn't say product. I said, my God, you're the product engineering manager. Product. No, product, no, product. No, product. Conducto, conduct, conducta, conduct, product. Yo tenía que endurecerle la D. Él decía, I'm the product manager. Product manager. With product, I'll say goodbye because I have to go. We'll stop with product and we'll continue tomorrow. Take care.